We're live.
How exciting!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Water Wisdom Podcast. I have one of my besties is here with us today. So the energy is going to be extra, extra. So, everyone, grab your water. Let's set the intention. All the codes are flowing as usual, and we are intending that they will be amplified with our water, so that we can all experience the highest love, the highest joy, and the highest abundance together. Take a drink. I feel it. Welcome, everyone. How are you? I am so pleased to introduce to you Ashley Ouden. She is in the UK, right?
Yep.
Yes. She is a sound, energy, and yoga practitioner. A woman of many talents. She is also a beautiful mother of 3. And we connected in the online space several years ago. And we have had a fast friendship ever since that has been quite magical. We have dreams about one another, perhaps in alternate dimensions. We have visions of one another. So we have so much magic to share with you today. Ashley, hello, darling.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's so lovely.
I'm so happy to have you. I'm so happy to connect and for all of us to be able to tap into the energy that you and I create together. We have come so far since we began in the online space. I mean, we really both started following each other very early in our
Mhm.
online journey. And now we have come to a space where we're both doing so much more. We have both expanded so much personally and professionally. And so I am celebrating you here today as a way shower, opening doors for so many through the gifts that you share with the world. And so, what I would love to start by doing is I want to know about your mission and what you're currently doing. And then we're going to go back and take a deep dive into your awakening journey.
How
So,
long have you
Ashley,
got?
yes. Will you share with us like what your gifts to the world are? Like what is your soul offering to the world?
Okay, so what drives me is shining a light, I guess, on people's intuition, their trust in themselves, and to empower them. So many people, I think, have lost their power and they put it out to elsewhere, and don't realize how powerful they are. So I teach yoga classes and we do a lot of pranayama, breath work, meditation at the end. And there is so much healing that happens just when people stop. You know, life is too busy. It's so distracting. We're kind of programmed to be distracted from ourselves all the time. And it just is too overwhelming for the nervous system. So my mission, and I'm really lucky now to have a space where I can invite people in. It's a physical space. So I'm in Wales, in South Wales, UK. And it's just to give that space for people to stop. I get lots of mummies coming to my class, especially the day classes, if they've dropped kids off at school or nursery and they just need some time to stop because they've been 100 miles an hour and nobody wants to leave. It's lovely, right? Okay, at the end of the relaxation, right? Time to take a breath, come back to your body, sit up, and they're like, no, I'll stay here. Which is just, people just need to stop and realize how important their visualization can be. It's all mindset, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, I love moving my body. That's why I'm a yoga teacher. I remember when I was little, I always wanted to get paid to move my job, paid for my job, to move my body. That's what I'm trying to say. And yoga, I'm so passionate about moving and shifting all the energy through the body, but as equally as important as moving your body is just to stop and be in it and try and figure out what your body needs. Because we can go, you know, people go to the gym and go hell for leather in the gym, but they're not actually conscious of what their body wants. They're just like, right, I need to do this. And yeah, it's amazing what the shifts that people can make energetically and just in their realities, just giving that space to go, oh, I've had that idea. I know that's the next step. And that's my mission, I guess, just to give people the space. So I do the sound healings as well. And during the sound healings, it's just stop and listen, go to sleep if you want to. It depends what your body's doing. Even if you're not conscious of that hour, your body has received the vibrations. So I guess that's my mission, to give people space and hold that space for them.
Empowering, so empowering. And when I think of you, I think of the breath. Because and I so appreciate that about you, that so much of your material, like that's the thing that you're always going back to, reminding people, have you taken a breath today? Have you taken a conscious breath today? And so for all of the amazing people watching or listening, especially the moms, the busy moms, can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, I want to know how old your kids are, and how did you make the space to actually start doing your mission work, just to inspire everyone that it is possible as a busy mom of 3 and a wife?
Yeah. So my kids I've got a son who is 11. I have a daughter who's just turned 10, and a little boy who is 3. So we've spread out the kids, and they're just delicious. All of them are completely different. They've all got amazing qualities about them. And I'm still fascinated how you can make 3 completely different people, which fascinates me. So to be able to do this mission, it just sort of happened. I've just been blessed. I've always trusted the universe. I've always just gone, right, what will be, will be. And I'm just going to go. If I get the nudge to do it, I'll do it. I've been very lucky that I'm supported. My husband's amazing. And before, I suppose I was teaching yoga for quite a few years while I was working full time as well. And then I had the children. I still went back to work and had maternity leave. And then by the time my daughter was, I had the year's maternity leave, and then I went back for 8 months, and it was time to stop. I was driving a lot. So I used to be a medical rep, pharmaceutical rep, which is 360 to where I am now. But to be honest, I've always been here. It was like, getting that job was like an insight into what I was fascinated about, because I'm fascinated about medicine and science and all that kind of stuff. But I was also brought up not to go. We didn't do the doctors. My mum made a potion. I was very blessed. So I've always been on that journey to go, okay, they don't know everything. I totally respect what they do. However, there is other pathways. So when I got that job straight out of uni, I remember my mum saying, what are you doing? We don't do that. And I just went, I'm just fascinated. I need to know what happens. I want to know what it's like. And again, I fell into it, really. I just kind of was guided. I just took the steps. And when they offered me the job, I was 22. They offered, they throw things at you. It's all, I was 22. I had a new car. I had a laptop. I had autonomy. So there's no office as such. So you work from home, drive around. It was in London, so I had a great time. And it was a really interesting journey. I've done lots of jobs in between as well. And then when I knew that enough was enough, because I was driving a lot and I was tired after having 2 kids. I remember my daughter wasn't the best sleeper at that point, and there's not much age gap between them. And I remember just being on, if people are watching this from the UK, I was on the M5. And I just remember driving home, and I didn't care about my job anymore. I used to go and speak to nurses and have a lovely time. But at the same time, I knew they weren't that interested in what I was saying. I was just the caterer. And when I just realised I was just delivering sandwiches, I was driving 4 hours down to Yeovil, which is on the south coast. And delivering sandwiches, having a chat about the products and the drugs that I was trying to push, and then driving home, just going, what a waste of time. Like, yes, I'm getting paid. Yes, I've got a nice car, but my kids need me. It was just such a moment. And I remember drifting off, you know, when you have that split second of sleep on the motorway, and I woke up and I was too close to a lorry. And I remember just thinking, I can't do this anymore. Like this is, I can't do this. And I came home and yeah, luckily it all perfect. It was timed perfectly. My husband got a promotion. We knew we could do it financially. We just went, let's just do it and see what happens. And that is how I just then went into full-time mummying with my yoga. So I was part-time yogaing on the side as well before I had the kids. And I did a little bit in between with the kids, but as and when, but it was, you know, it was quite busy. So to just be there for them and be mummy and just do classes as and when I could was just such a gift.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is what I'm hearing from you, just to encourage everyone out there, is that you really built this in the pockets of your time, right? It's not something that you just were able to drop everything else that you were doing. You were still momming, working full time, and started building your mission in the pockets of your time. And what I love, what is really cool about the synchronicity between the two of us is when I was a nurse, you know, I went to school to be a holistic nurse. Like that was my intention, but I'm also in a place in the United States where it really, that holistic aspect is just now taking off. So it was kind of like a pipe dream at that time in a sense. You know, I ended up getting out of nursing school and working on an oncology floor.
Wow.
Chemo. And so what Spirit said to me, I remember this very distinctly when I got my job, was you can't change what you don't know. And so we're going to work from the inside out. So it feels very synchronistic that, you know, you growing up with a very holistic mother and then like diving into the other side and really, you know, entrenching yourself in the money and all of the things, right? All of those 3D things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was one of those nurses that was going to the paid dinners where the pharmaceutical reps were coming in and promoting a chemotherapy that had a 9% efficacy.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And they were actually going to administer this to our patients. And I'm like, are you like, this feels so effing unethical, so unethical. But I stayed because I was learning. It was like, felt like it was like an initiation for me,
Yeah.
you know, and I never did hang chemo because I stayed, I was either like pregnant or nursing the entire time that I was on this oncology floor. So I never had to hang chemo. But you know, your story is kind of, it feels like this very, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the epitome of you're shining the light to the person who is in the depths of like the 3D money, all of that stuff. Like, let me dangle this carrot for you, you know? And it's like the opposite of what you grew up with, but still you were breathing enough consciously and silent enough that you were able to gain that access to the bigger part of you to lead you and to really pave the way, right? Because your husband got the promotion at the perfect time. You created that, right?
Yeah, I'll take all credit for that. He'll love that, especially if he's
Yeah.
watching now.
Hey, you're the only one in the room, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a reflection of you. You're creating it all, right? So I love that. Like it's so inspirational to hear all of the things you had going, all of the 3D nuggets you had, you know, just calling your name, like, come over here, stay over here. But yet you still found the energy and the way. And so can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, can you describe to the best of your ability for us, like, what was that like voice inside, that feeling that you had that was pulling you in a different direction?
Yeah, I think it was that moment with the lorry on the motorway. That was the last straw. You know, it was just like an epiphany. Going, right, this is dangerous. You know, I can't do this. But also, I mean, that was just the last straw. There were so many nuggets up until that point. So after my second lot of maternity leave. At this point, I'm working for Pfizer. I think most people know them. So they had restructured in South Wales. So there's lots of journeys in between this, but I ended up working for Pfizer in South Wales when we moved back here from London. And they'd restructured. So my job in South Wales was no longer available. So I thought, fine, I don't think I'm going back to work. I think we'll just work with this and we'll just figure it out. And Mike was like, yeah, we'll figure it out. It's going to be okay. And then they dangled another carrot. So it was like the universe testing me. Ash, they really want you. Bristol team really want you. They're really keen. Why don't you go and have a chat? And, I'd been off with the kids. To have that sort of ego boost, I can still do this. I'm still professional. I'm still me. I'm not just mummy changing nappies. I can still do this. So I totally said to Mike, right, I'm going to have a chat. I don't think this is realistic. He works from Bristol as well. It's an hour journey from where we are in Cardiff. And we just bought a house where we are. And we were both like, that would be ridiculous if we both worked from Bristol, because we were going to move there. We didn't, because, you're here with kids, blah, blah. Anyway, so it transpires. I go and have this meeting. They couldn't have been more complimentary. I was like, I'm still professional. Yes, I can earn money. This will be fine. I can balance it. They said, you can just do the top of the patch. You don't need to do all the way down to Somerset. Oh, fine. I can deal with Bristol. Great. Went home. Mike said, how did they take it? And I went, yeah, I'm working full time in Bristol. And he just went, why? And I said, I don't know. Should we just see how it goes? When you just have to keep testing yourself, going, is this working? Is this working? And it is a constant journey, and learning as well. So I went back, did more training, because you have to do the training for all the new products and blah, blah. And the amount of clinical papers that I have read, it is exhausting. But then looking back, I wasn't in it the second time round. Actually, this is the third time round. So I wasn't in it when I went back. We did the training. I found it exhausting. I wasn't in the room. I wanted to be home with the kids. I didn't want to be in a hotel for a week learning. And now didn't realize, but how much programming goes into that. You have a script, you're talking about this, and what would you do for this objection? And this is how you would deal with this objection, and blah, blah. And this is what the competitors do. And I'm like, is this about health, or is this just sales? It is a sales job. I know that. I'm not stupid. No, everyone knows that. However, the objections are just, it was a bit of an eye-opener again at this point. I mean, it's fun first time round. I was 20 something, but I'm now, I was 34 going back after having Immy, actually 35. So a little bit wiser, a little bit more, hang on a minute, I'm not sure about this. Anyway, I went with it, and I did it, and I kind of enjoyed it. And then my territory partner left, who was doing the bottom half of the country. So like, right, you need to do the bottom part of the patch now. That's a 4 or 5 hour drive for a morning meeting. It was a build up. And then I was like, right, no, I can't do this. This is crazy. And that's
it's like,
where I got from.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I feel like sometimes we lay these things out before us so that we really know we are sure. So we don't look back and say, oh, well, what if? It's got to be really loud. Like, I remember when I decided to leave nursing, like I was like, okay, it's time. And then I got offered a contract at a place that was paying almost, they were paying me over $50 an hour, US, right? And so I go in, and it was like, I think they were paying me double what I was making as like the highest paid nurse at my hospital. So I think it was actually around like $60 an hour, which still ain't shit when you're saving lives. Okay. Right. Like, now I think about $66 an hour, and I'm like, that ain't nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
And what you have to do to make it, like, okay. So my point is, I go in, and I was the only RN there for 30 nurses, or I'm sorry, for 30 patients. 30 patients. So I had people assisting me, but there was no humanly possible way that I could have done everything that the RN was supposed to do, even overseeing my license was on the line. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, because I had no clue that I'd never done that type of work. So I didn't know what it was going to be like. And I was like, oh, I could go over here and work half as much and then do my thing online. I was like, okay, I hear you. Like, I hear you, Monica. Thank you for testing yourself. I'm going to
Yeah.
go now. So, okay. So then, once you decided to leave, what fears came up for you? Or were you so done at that point? Had you been breadcrumbing yourself long enough that you were like really in a place you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this feels really good to me?
Yeah, I was ready. Totally. Yeah. So this was, I had my notice in. So my last day was after Christmas. So we didn't do anything at Christmas anyway. So yeah, just before Christmas was when I stopped. Had a little leaving do, and it was just relief going, oh yeah, take the car. I don't want it. Take it, and you take everything to get it out. I don't need any of this stuff. Take all the paperwork. I don't want it. So yeah, it was relief. I was totally ready. And I had so much other things to do. I wanted to be there for the kids. And it made sense, perfect sense. And I could concentrate on what I actually loved doing. But interestingly enough, there was lots of overlaps. So I initially started teaching yoga in 2010, and that was, again, it just happened. I had been studying it for years and years and years, and I've got an amazing yoga teacher mentor who's just fabulous. So I've been probably doing yoga since 2004 and doing foundation courses and bits and bobs, and just because I was interested, not because I was necessarily going to be a teacher. I didn't think, that wasn't in my mind at that point, because like exercise teachers don't make money, that's the belief I had. That's crazy. It's just like a little side job to also get fit. That's what I thought. So then I was doing a foundation course. Then he said, why don't you join the yoga therapy course if you're interested? It's more philosophy and all that kind of stuff, and you can teach if you want to. So it was 4 years. It's not like a weekend thing. This was years and years of study. And I thought, okay, I will do it. I am fascinated. Let's go. And then when we moved back to Cardiff, I was going to a yoga class, and the lady knew that I was studying. So I did a few observations just as part of my course, did some observations with her. And then she decided that she needed to stop because she was going through a fertility journey. And she said, why don't you teach this class? And this is in a gym. This is like 30 odd people. And to me, I was like, no, I can't do that. And she said, yes, you can. She was from LA. She was lovely. She just said, yeah, you can do this. Why don't you do it? I tell you what, why don't you teach next week? I'll sit in the room, help you out. If you need help, if you get stuck, bring some notes, do what you need to do. And it just came out, okay. And then I went home and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what I've just agreed to. This is mad. And Mike just went, just do it. Just go for it. So I did. And I was so nervous. Even though for my job, I present stuff, as a pharmaceutical rep, I was presenting to consultants in hospitals. I wasn't nervous. I'm quite happy to talk and present, but this was different. This was my passion. This is really exposing. I'm moving my body. There's people watching me. It was really weird. But as soon as I started, it just flowed. And I was like, oh, okay. I was buzzing afterwards. I absolutely loved it. It gives me shivers thinking about it, because it's just, and I got home and I was buzzing. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I've done that, but it was amazing. And the comments back were brilliant. And so I took over 3 of her classes, and that's where it started. That's where the teaching started. So that was back in 2010. So it's been a while.
Oh, I love that. Isn't it amazing what happens when you really lean in? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a thin line between fear and excitement, right? Like you
Absolutely.
said,
Yeah.
you're like, I always present in front of people, but this is like my authentic soul expression. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, if I'm real for the world around me, like what is going to happen? You have all these subconscious fears come up to be transmuted, and then
Yeah.
boom, just like magic, the whole world opens up for you.
Yeah, like I was totally comfortable with the program of the script that I was given, and presenting as the pharmaceutical rep. Not
Yeah.
me. That wasn't me. That's fine. I'm comfortable with that. But now I can be me. It's so so much more rewarding. So much more rewarding. It's just, it's your soul journey, isn't it?
I
It lights
love it.
me up.
Yes, it's like you lay that brick and spirit will match you 1,000 fold and beyond, right? It
Yeah.
happens over and over again.
And it's interesting with the journey. So in my position just before I got pregnant for the first time, my manager was just lovely and she was very connected. She used to love coming out on field visits because we talk about the breath and we talk about this, that, and the other. But she also had a family member who was poorly and he actually had cancer. And on our field visits, we'd go out to the surgeries all morning, then we'd have lunch, and then she goes, should we go and see him? And I would do yoga therapy session with him in the afternoon while she was having a cup of tea in his kitchen. And just reflecting back on that, going, that gave me confidence to do the yoga therapy because I was just doing my study and I was helping him, but I was also getting paid for Pfizer and I was with my manager, so it was fine. It was just, there were lots of little nuggets that dropped in to go, hang on, you can still do this. You do this? You like doing this bit? Because I loved, everyone dreaded having a field visit with a manager, right? I loved it because I knew that we were going to go and do a bit of soul work. It was
love it.
lovely.
That's so fun. So fun. Okay. Now, can we go back? Let's
Okay.
backtrack a little bit. And let's talk about before you really kind of woke up to the fact that something different, something beyond what you had thought is going on this planet. So can you tell us, please, a little bit about your awakening journey? And you get to I know it's a big question, just take it wherever your soul leads you, but share with us,
We could go all over the
please.
place here. So
Right?
I guess it's only recently that I've realized that it was an awakening journey. It was just when I was little, Mum tells me stories about things that I would say, and I'd kind of predict things. And she'd be like, how do you know that? And I remember one time we were going for a walk, we were walking towards the pub, and I remember saying to her, that boy with football is, I think he's going to be okay, so don't worry. And Mum was like, what boy? And we walked around the corner and a boy had kicked his football and he ran out into the road to get the football, but he was fine. So it was like I was preempting, not to worry about him, he's going to be fine. And I remember doing that and then thinking, I'm not sure. Okay, we just sort of skirted over it. But luckily, because my mum is quite, very open-minded at that point, she just like, oh, tell me more. Oh, what did you see? What are you saying? And, there was no sort of, don't be silly, that's silly. So I guess that helped with me just to accept what I felt. I'm trying to think. Lots of things. I always thought about having guides. I've always talked to myself or to something. I always knew how in control of our reality we were. I used to predict things and go, well, that's going to happen. It's totally going to happen. I would like mantras to myself. I know that's going to happen. It's totally going to happen. And when I let go of it, I went, yeah, it's just happening. It would happen. And then there are so many little synchronicities. So one thing that I really remember, when I was 17, I really wanted to go and watch the band Reef. I don't know if you know them. I'll have to send you the song. Okay, so it's very UK based. They were a Cornwall band, but their track was huge. Their track is Put Your Hands Up, if anybody wants to Google it or YouTube it. So they were called Reef, and me and my best friend at the time really wanted to go and see them. And I knew they were playing down the road. So I tried to get tickets, couldn't get any tickets. They'd all sold out. So I thought, right, I'm going to win a competition. It's just going to happen. I'm going to win it. Something will come up. I was so determined to go and see them and buy this for her present. And then, as if by magic, I think the next evening, just on daytime telly, there was a competition to win tickets for Reef in the stadium down the road. And I thought, oh, okay, that's it. I'm going to do it. So I entered the competition with a letter saying how much I wanted these. I don't know if it was the letter that did it, but I wrote all of this stuff. I sent it out to them, then forgot about it. Thought, right, okay, well, if that's meant to be, it'll be. Then I kept daydreaming or even dreaming and visualizing that we were going to go there. We were on the train, we're going there. It's totally going to happen. We might even get a signed photo. All of this stuff went through my mind. Anyway, got a phone call. I won the competition. They loved my letter. They sent me a signed photo and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness. And this is when we were in sixth form. So I remember going into the common rooms, the sixth form common room, and just going, oh, you'll never guess, happy birthday. And I was so chuffed to be able to, to do this, going, oh my goodness, we're actually going to go and see them. So that was amazing. And then I started visualizing, daydreaming, and just being there, being backstage. We were meeting the band and we were going backstage. We were going to have lunch with them. We were going to do all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's great. But I got so excited about it being 17, going, oh my God, this actually, we can actually meet the band. This would be amazing. And then I got a phone call to ask if we would like to go and meet the band and go backstage. And I was just like, oh, this actually works. Oh my goodness, this actually is working. So I phoned my friend up and I said, we can go backstage. We're having lunch with them. 17-year-old craziness. And it was brilliant. We got on the train, we went to meet them, we had lunch, we were playing ping pong with them. We watched it, and then we saw them afterwards. And it was just like magic, literally. It was amazing. So I guess from that point onwards, I knew I was capable of creating whatever I wanted within reason. But if you're excited enough about something and you put that much excitement and gratitude and vision into it, magic can happen. And yeah, there's lots of things that have happened like that. I've got quite a few stories, but I guess that's the first one I really remember.
Yeah. And you were 17?
17, yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And around that time, we were looking at going to university and all that kind of stuff. And I remember thinking, I really want to do holistic stuff. And I was looking at doing it in Canada from a friend of my stepmom, I think, was talking about holistic health. And there were so many connections and there were so many pulls. And in hindsight, I think that's where I should have gone in another reality. But obviously this, I think all the paths go to where you're going to go, don't they? That would have been a completely different one. But I ended up going down the science route. I was going to be a pharmacist. Like, what? That's crazy. I failed my A-level maths, which is such a blessing in disguise, because there's no way that I would have enjoyed pushing pills right now. It's so weird how where life takes you. I was so disappointed that I failed my maths, but I knew it was happening because I literally just froze in the exam, went, something told, I just didn't write anything. And I think that was the universe just stopping me. Do not do this. You are not going to enjoy it. So I ended up doing biomedical science, which I loved because it was very broad. It had a bit of everything. And it did fascinate me. I did really enjoy it. And then that's when I fell into being a pharmaceutical rep. And I guess I've just had lots of nudges along the way. It's not been one massive awakening. It's just been little nudges. I know I'm connected somehow. I knew there was something else. It wasn't a religious thing. It was just a faith in myself.
Yeah, ultimately. Because you didn't grow up religious, did you?
No, my mum was strict. Well, she was brought up with Irish parents, so there's a lot of Catholicism going on there. And yeah, no, she rebelled from that. So there was no religion really in my family. We used to go to Sunday school because it was fun, but nothing. Yeah. It was nice and fine, but there was no strict religious thing.
Yeah, that's always interesting to me because I feel like many of the conversations that I've had are with people who have had religion, like pretty strict religion in their life. I mean, I know at one point for me, I was super Catholic for years, which was interesting. I didn't really become religious until I was in 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that kind of bizarre? I ended up going to a Catholic school, and in order to get the discount, I mean, I don't mean it just like that, but really, I mean, my dad wasn't religious at all. Like the earth was my religion. I was just climbing trees and running through fields in the country. And then we went to a Catholic school, and then I was all in, man. I was baptized and got my first communion in the same week. It was like rapid programming. Oh my gosh, it was wild. And so I really have I enjoy our conversations because we've talked about this, you not having really religion in your life in that way, and me having it from like fifth grade to really, I don't know, to like 35, maybe 35 ish. And
Wow.
so it's interesting to talk about your perspective around it, we just have had a lot of great conversations about that. And okay, so then that kind of takes me to I also have had a pretty, I wouldn't call it subtle necessarily. There've been some real kicks in the shin, which you've
Hmm.
experienced too, but um I feel like having these conversations around like the awakening journey, it kind of normalizes it in a way for people because like we're living at a time where things are rapidly shifting.
Yeah.
And there are people who have these like crazy wild awakening experiences, but then there are also more people who have more of a subtle experience, but then we think that we crave the big rapid experience, but honestly it like hurts. It hurts your physical body, and it can be kind of scary, and it can really throw you off. And so I guess my next question for you is, um, had there been any of those moments that you've had that have been like super mystical kind of experience, or I know you have some interesting dreams. Is there anything that you want to share around that stands out to you?
Um, do you mean a little bit more like connections and magic and
Yeah.
synchronicities? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when I got fed up the first time with medical repping, I worked for Roche Pharmaceuticals in London, and I just knew that I'd had enough. So I was selling the same thing for 4 years to the same people who clearly weren't interested. But at the same time, I was kind of in shock of how much reliance some GPs at the time were having on what I was saying. So, like, really? And I was, because they haven't got time to learn about all the drugs. Like, there isn't time. There's so many new ones all the time. So, I was providing like some information that they didn't know. But at the same time, they'd ask me questions. And I'd be like, really? You should know that. Should you not know that? I don't know. And so I was a bit like taken aback, going, oh, I'm taking these doctors off the pedestal. It was good because I was nervous about doing this job initially because I was like, oh, listening to little old me, they're doctors, all that kind of stuff. But that they got taken off the pedestal a little bit, and I thought, okay, hang on a minute. So I was over it. I needed to do something else. There were lots of other things going on in my life, and I just needed space. And I just needed space. So an opportunity arose to become cabin crew for BA. And, that's from polar apart. So I was like, I can't do that job. That's crazy. Somebody I knew had just been through the process, knew all the answers, knew somebody had training, gave me the script, write this. Should we do the application? Yeah, fine. Let's just do it. See what happens. So it was just another thing. Yeah, well, the opportunity's there. See what happens. I can always turn it down. Anyway, so they asked me for an interview, and this is in Heathrow, which was part of my patch at the time. So I was technically still working. Went for the interview with BA, not nervous because I didn't really think I wanted the job. Got to the interview, realised that people really wanted this job. It was a long haul, temporary contract for 6 months, which didn't normally come up. Normally, it's just you do short haul for years and years and years. And if you're, if you've worked hard enough, they might give you the long haul. It was like the prize. So it was an amazing opportunity because I needed space. I needed to get out, and I'd love to travel. Couldn't afford it. Oh, look, I'll go and do it for a job. So this is another sort of magical thing that happened. So I got the job, and I thought, if I turn that down, I'll always wonder what that job's like. That's like an amazing opportunity for 6 months. My boss said to me, you could probably come back in 6 months. Brilliant. Okay, I'm off. So it was a really fun year just to get some space, see the world pretty much, not like in depth. It was like snippets of the world, but just going, wow, it was just so amazing. And so many synchronicities happened. My best friend at the time was really fed up with her life and wanted a husband. And she said to me, can you just go and find me a husband? And I went, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go and find you a husband. So off I go to Phoenix, and the crew were lovely. We all decided to go to Sedona for the day. So we went off to Sedona, and I got chatting to the pilot, and we were just chatting, and he felt like, oh, I feel like I know you, and he was like, yeah, and he was quite spiritual, which is very I wasn't expecting this, and he was like, yeah. Okay, so we just started talking and talking and talking, and then and the whole crew were there. We had a look around Sedona, and obviously it's the place, isn't it? It's so spiritual, and I didn't realize this at the time. I didn't have this awareness of Sedona and how spiritual it was. Like, I knew it when I got there, but I didn't. Now I hold a lot of more love for that place, I guess, because there was so much magic that happened. So he went off and said, I just need to go and buy my grandma a present. I said, yeah, that's fine, go for it. We went all for lunch. And then on the way back, we sat in the car at the back and just started chatting. It was just non-stop chatting. And he felt like a brother. It was really interesting. So we were just chatting. And then he was talking about his house. He was talking about his garden. And I just really need to have my garden done. And I went, oh, funny enough. I say my friend, she's my stepsister. And she said, he said, I said, my stepsister's actually a garden designer. And he went, it's not. And he said her name. And I went, yeah. What? How do you know? And he said, I think I came across her website. And I went, okay, that's weird. And you know, we both stopped, looked at each other, goosebumps, went, what? It was really odd. And then we just kept chatting, going, oh, this is really odd. And then on the way home, on the way home, when we landed in Heathrow, he said to me, I know I can tell you this, but I did a little meditation, and I've been guided to give this to you to give to her. And I went, what? He said, it's the present I bought for my grandma. I thought it was buying for my grandma, but I think it's for your friend, my stepsister. And I went, oh, this is really weird. This is really weird. And he went, I know, it's really weird. Do you want to, should we just do it? And I went, yeah, okay. Anyway, so then I go back and see her, and I went, and she was just really getting annoyed and just going, oh, I just can't find anyone. I'm so fussy, blah, blah. And I went, okay, you need to sit down because I've got something to tell you. This is really odd, but I know you're going to love it as well. And she just was telling me about a story that she had been with her friend, and her friend's like, that Prince Charming doesn't exist. You need to come down a pedestal and just go and date. Your Prince Charming does not exist. Her grandma also told her that she would never need to change her surname. So in her head, she's like, I'm never getting married. Am I not getting married? Okay, so then I sit down, tell the whole story, give this present. She opens it, and we're just sitting in the car like this. What? It was a frog on a lily pad with a crown. And we were like, that's your Prince Charming. And we just both went, what's going on? What's going on? And anyway, bizarre, all very bizarre. Long story short, they're married and they've got 2 kids. I found her husband.
That is so interesting. How magical is that?
And even more interesting, they've got the same surname. She didn't have to change her name.
Wow. Okay. So she opens the gift, and then was she like, I've got to contact him? Like,
she was freaked out, but we loved this. We both had been Reiki practitioners by this point. We were kind of exploring all avenues of all this stuff. We used to, I've missed bits from the past. I've just remembered stuff that we used to do together. So she was freaked out, but she was like, so now who is this guy? And I went, just a tall, dark, handsome pilot that you might quite fancy. She was like, oh, what? I said, right, he's coming to yoga with me next week. If you want to come, you can meet him, or we can just, see how this goes. We're staying in contact. We're like best buddies. And he started coming to yoga with me. They kind of slowly got introduced to each other, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. That is so cool. What a loaded story. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. And it reminds us that, all of the places that we go, it's like, it's all woven for us, right? We are all connected like this beautiful spider web. I see this like golden thread of light connecting all of us. And think of all the places that you've gone throughout your life that you didn't realize. Like you said, you didn't realize what a magical place what an anchor, what a portal
No,
Sedona is, right? To
I
go to
know.
Sedona and like not really know, but
No,
you were anchoring light there the whole time. I mean, you were recruiting husbands, and it's like that is absolutely magical. And so I've been to Hawaii, and I went to Hawaii when I was, I think I was 23, around 23, and I had no clue the magic of Hawaii. Really, I mean, I knew it was beautiful, but it was all still very 3D to me. It felt very magical, but I had no idea
Mhm.
what a magical place that Hawaii was. But all these places were just like bopping around unknowingly, coating everyone with light and anchoring light in these areas and reactivating spaces without even knowing it. It's like our soul is just leading us there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also San Francisco was a big uh, jolt for me as well. So we went to San Francisco. There was problems in Heathrow at the time once we'd landed, and so we couldn't go back. So I was stuck in San Francisco for 6 days being paid. Nightmare. Oh my God, I was so happy, so happy. And I went to a bookshop on my own, and I just started reading. And I think it was the book Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. And I read that and I was just like, I was in. I'm not a book reader. I never was. When I was younger, it was all, there's no point in reading that book because I should be reading my study books. I was wasting my time reading books unless I was studying. And you're like, how stupid is that? On reflection, I realized the magic in some books. So once I became cabin crew, I read so many books, so many spiritual books, Synchrodestiny, the Celestine Prophecy, all the classic ones. I gorged on them, and it just did something. It just shifted, and just so much magic happened that year, and so many synchronicities, and just so many shifts. And it was amazing, really
That's cool.
amazing.
The codes
So
are
it's
in the books, aren't they? The codes are in the
mm-hmm,
books. Reading the
mm-hmm.
book, just absorbing all the codes, just like the codes are in the conversations like this one we're having. I love
Yeah,
it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. Are you ready to see your water signature?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me tell everybody what I did. So you have to check out Ashley on Instagram, Lighten Up with Ashley, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love her Instagram. And like I said, she's always going back to the breath, like reminding you, this is your daily reminder to breathe. Oh my gosh, it seems so simple, but it is
Yeah.
absolutely it's our anchor point, right? Like we have to breathe. And when we really learn how to breathe with intention, our whole life changes, because something that we have not been taught because our parents didn't know to teach us is that that prana life force energy that comes through your body, it's through your breath. But
Mm-hmm.
this is the kicker. It's through the low, deep, intentional breath, right? We're always walking around, breathing high in our sympathetic nervous system. And when we breathe low, we activate our parasympathetic. And so Ashley has a beautiful, beautiful channel on Instagram that's always reminding you in different ways, like how can we be grateful and how can we take the time to appreciate the world around us and to breathe deep.
And
So
also, sorry, just
go
to
ahead,
and
please.
to see the magic. There is so much magic around you, but we're too busy to notice. And when you stop and just be grateful for those simple things, be grateful for your breath. I always say, if you can't be grateful for anything, you can always be grateful for your breath. Be grateful for your amazing body for working without you even telling it to necessarily. And it's just I've lost my train of thought.
Well, it's simple. It
Just
gets
that
to be
magic.
simple.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see magic, and at the moment, people are getting stressed for all sorts of different reasons, right? It's overwhelming, especially with the energies at the moment. There's a lot of energy going on in on the planet, and it is overwhelming. Some people will be totally overwhelmed and blame something else, but actually stop and breathe and just look. Go and listen to some birds. They are so healing. Just like simple things. Just go
Yeah.
outside, find a tree, and touch it. Take your shoes
Yeah.
off. It's so simple to find the magic and not be so wrapped up. We spend too much time in our heads. You got to get into your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you find the magic, right? As you intentionally look for the magic that's already there, it then amplifies. Just like if we look for stress and tension, if we're looking at all of the stress points in our life, all of that gets louder and is amplified, right? So we can flip that and create more magic in our life in very simple ways. And that's what I really love about your message, is that it gets to be simple, because I feel like there are a lot of messages in, you know, the spiritual community, whatever, that really can overcomplicate it. And that's a matrix code, right? Like
Yeah.
we are coded with this giant energetic grid around us that is the matrix. Everything has been overcomplicated with intention, because the complicated or the person who feels stretched and overwhelmed is really pacified and like zombified,
More,
right?
more controllable.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I dove into Ashley's Instagram. And as I did that, I, as usual, took a little petri dish of water and just held it next to my heart. And I just really tuned in to the words that she was saying. So, something that this practice is really anchoring within me is the ability to be even more present with what I am engaging in. So, I'm like so uber focused on the person that I am requesting that their frequency in some way come through the water, that it's serving me on such a deep level as well. So thank you. And I will screen share now and pull this up. Give me just a second. Let me click on the right tab here. Okay. So let me go back and actually hit screen share, present, share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay. Do you see me zooming in? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, it's starting.
Tell me if you can see it.
Yes, now.
Okay. I know it's not a super clear. I need like a really high quality camera so that I can really get the full effect here for everyone. I'm going to get another image. Okay. First of all, see how it is rising up out of the water. That gives me Lemurian vibes. That's kind of a new thing that's been happening with these water signatures, is they've been like rising up out of the water. And I sit on just like a flat surface. There's no difference in, like, there's no point where it's colder than any other point, because I actually put it on a specific little um kind of, it's raised up a little bit so everything's equalized. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me go to, okay, this one. What do you see? Like intuitively, what do you see? Because I know what I see.
Initially, I saw a lung.
Did you? I
Yeah,
love that. That makes sense, doesn't it?
or trees and branches.
Do you know what I see?
Go on, tell me.
I see feathers.
Yeah, I can go with feathers.
I see feathers, but then I also see two lungs. It's so like nuanced, these frequencies are when they come through. Like, do you see at the side there all of
Mm-hmm.
those? And when I hold it sideways, it has this like beautiful little ripple effect. Let me see. Do I have any more? Oop.
That's
And I
really cool.
actually I took a video, but I couldn't get it to come through my email. So next time I'll think a little further ahead, because it would be neat too. Okay, let's zoom in on this one. Look, isn't it? Why it's like you can see so many different things from different lighting, different angles,
Yeah,
but it's structured, that's for sure.
that's cool.
And if you look at the right side, there's like it's almost like an inverted kind of triangle. Down, down, down. Oh, it kind of reminds me of like ribs, Ashley.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And I will send this to you so that you can see. If anyone is listening and not watching this, go to about 53:40 and 53 minutes 40 seconds in on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the visual. Okay, so now that we have looked at that,
That's
I
cool. Thank
totally
you.
okay, I totally saw feathers. It's like the first thing that came through for me. I always hear, oh, and you know what else I heard when I saw it, when I looked at it? Tartaria. That was the word that came through.
Interesting.
Isn't that
Interesting.
interesting?
Yeah, and there's something that I read recently, spiritual, not predictions, but feelings that that land is coming up underwater, which is really interesting because that's what I thought when you did that. I was like, oh, you know, some people were talking about Atlantis coming back or something rising up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, how
Ooh,
exciting!
I love that. I've got chills when you said that. And two, when I looked at it, I also saw like pillars. And that was my initial hit was the Tartaria when that word came through, because you think of the information that we hear about Tartaria is that all of these like beautiful buildings, these kind of ancient buildings, that they're actually Tartarian buildings that stayed for whatever shift occurred. I don't really know a lot about Tartaria, but I guess I'll do some research now.
They all had the power, didn't they? The electricity, free electricity on the spires and all the towers and things. It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
it is
Fascinating.
fascinating. And then the other piece too that comes through is I feel like we have like a bird connection. We've
We've had
had
chats
these
about birds.
conversations. We've had chats about birds.
Yeah,
Like we're the bird people together.
yeah, yeah.
You know, our etheric wings, they're here. It's magical. Oh my gosh. So this has been really wonderful, Ashley. And one of the most magical things about Ashley and I's connection that I really want to stress to everyone, it not stress is not the word, to just shine a light on is I know that a lot of us are like feel like we don't have any friends anymore, right? Like maybe you've kind of grown out of the people that you hung out with in the past because it's like you got to grow or go. And so a lot of our frequencies aren't matching with the people that we were hanging with. And so some of us feel lonely and like I get that. And so I'm just here to like remind you Ashley is truly is one of my best friends, and it's one of those friendships that definitely goes beyond this lifetime. And even we can go a certain amount of time and not talk and we come back and it's like we've known each other forever. Like your people are out there. And the more that you lean into your mission and say yes to laying that brick and allowing source, God, spirit, whatever you call that higher power to match you, that like your people are going to come. It has to happen. How do you feel about that, Ashley?
Absolutely. And that's funny. I had a conversation this morning after my yoga class with a few of the ladies who are struggling with certain, you know, things that we're all kind of struggling with. And they're like, I haven't really talked about this because I didn't expect, I was too embarrassed, you know. And so it's made me want to do women's circles and just a gathering so that people can find their people. So that's what this space is, so that people can actually just realize that there are people out there, but no one talks about it because the immediate people don't understand. So you'll kind of feel trapped in yourself. So go and just be you and see what connections come, because they will come. And I also wanted to share my gratitude journey, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I want you to share whatever your offerings are so that we can find you. I do want to tell everyone that I have linked Ashley's socials in the description wherever you're listening or watching this. It's all there for you. And I also, before you share that with us, Ashley, like Ashley and I haven't even met in the physical yet. Like we've
Yes,
never touched each other. We've never hugged yet, but our connection is so deep and so profound and so meaningful and fulfilling. So just your people are out there. Keep breathing and going into the silence because you're connecting with all of those people in the quantum and they will come to you. You become magnetic, right? Okay, so
absolutely.
that being said, share your offerings with us, Ashley, so that we can dive into your work and your beautiful mission offering so that we can have the tools to connect with the amazing souls that are calling out for us.
Thank you. So I guess the whole social, it's fairly new. I'm kind of growing Instagram. I didn't like it initially. I couldn't figure it out for ages, and I kind of figured it out. So I'm building that slowly. So feel free to hop on there and follow me. And there's links usually in my stories to a gratitude group. It's a completely free group on Facebook called Mindset Mastery, where I just pop in We've done guides through the magic, Rhonda Byrne magic book, where we do a 28-day gratitude journey. I'll guide you through it. This month we're doing kind of, we're taking it slower. So we're doing one practice for the whole week, just to bed it in, because it's all mindset and behavioral. And if you get used to thinking about gratitude first thing in the morning, it totally lifts your day. And if you do it consecutively, it can have an amazing, amazing shift in your reality, especially if you're having one of those days where you're thinking, oh, I don't want to go to work. It's all don't. And your cells are listening to everything you're saying. So if you don't want to go to work, nor does your body, you're not going to make it, and you're not going to have a nice time. Whereas if you shift that mindset and go, do you know what? Something magic's going to happen today. I'm going to go to work because I'm going to speak to somebody. Something's going to happen. There's going to be an opportunity. Tell yourself that and watch the magic happen. I won't guarantee it, but it's more likely to happen if you're in that mindset. And so practicing it every day, and then it becomes natural. And then it just lightens everything up, because, like I said, people are really stressed. And just be with your breath. Think about, it's really simple, just writing 5 things you're grateful for every day, and think about gratitude before you go to bed. So if you want a little reminder, join my group and I'll be there to remind you. And I'm also going to start doing some more on my YouTube channel that I set up years ago, and I haven't done much with it, but I'm going to start doing little yoga videos and maybe some sound healing. I'm kind of testing out this microphone set, so we'll see how that goes.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I will tell everyone that I actually launched my mission online with the book, The Magic. So if you want to even just get yourself into that space where you can start tapping into the guidance to really help you figure out what is my soul mission? What is my unique offering to the world? The book, The Magic, is a wonderful, wonderful way to start that journey.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so we're just about at an hour. So I want to honor everyone's time, including yours, Ashley. Before we go, do you feel aligned to give us a little sample of your healing frequencies? All right. Beautiful. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, everyone, and come into the now moment. And let's experience some beautiful magic of Ashley's frequency healings. Thank you.
Little sample.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. And I would love to, Ashley, when you create a video for YouTube with a little bit of frequency healing, send me the link and I'll add it to the description here so that people can access that, because that would be beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you so, so much.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's been fun.
It has been fun. I love you so much. Everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ashley.